Welcome back to Sustainapod, a youth-led podcast for young people and anyone passionate about issues related to sustainability. This episode is part 2 of our series with 2041 Hong Kong co-founders Christie and Justin. Last time, they shared with us all about their journey to Antarctica, and this time we'll be talking all about how they are bringing the Antarctic Spirit back home to Hong Kong through their organization, 2041 Hong Kong. So could you start by telling us more about when, how, the story behind creating this after your visit to Antarctica?
So 2041 Hong Kong was initially a team where our friends were in to support us before our trip in helping us gain traction on campaigns. But then while we were there, when we were coming back, we had a vision about doing something more long-term and more impactful, tangible. Both of us were in a lot of different student organizations before, and obviously a lot of advocacy work are put into it, including our school life before. We had a lot of workshops, we have a lot of education that is definitely needed for our society to be more aware. However, I think we also have a vision of taking a step further now, like not only doing advocacy work, but actually utilizing our knowledge and our community's different specialty in different areas, because a lot of them came from different majors, to put together solutions that will be tangible and useful for our society in the topic of climate change and sustainability. So hence we founded 2041 Hong Kong with 3 different branch and focus. We have the consulting side because there's a lot of talks about ESG and sustainability in the business world. And so for university students like us, I think we should know more about it and how to think on the ESG level of strategy. So from a corporate level or for a wide corporation setting, how could it be done internally and externally? And I think that is a very practical side that we want to help different businesses or different industry transition to a more low carbon sector. For example, we worked with different industry associations. So not only we're working on a company level, but instead an industry level, especially industries that haven't really talked about carbon emissions or transitioning much. We want to help them acknowledge what are the potential roadmap into the future. And we have community. I personally am very excited for community because we're targeting education, but also innovation. So for us, I think a lot of people right now, especially in the local school setting, there is STEM education. There's the regular academic curriculum, but there isn't a very specific niche on sustainability education. And a lot of schools in Hong Kong, they maybe would focus more on the public exam. And so in order for us to introduce the topic of sustainability into schools and actually popularize it, we figure that I think it's best if we include sustainability within STEM education itself. And so we want to promote the use of technology, the use of innovation, and integrate it with the concept of sustainability to have effective solutions. A lot of people are very open to the idea of exploring nature. And so we want to use technologies like VR and AR to help them immerse into nature and appreciate the value of it. In fact, in Antarctica, we took a lot of VR footage and we're hoping to stitch them into a curriculum so that people can experience a bit of Antarctica. And lastly, we have communications. Communications is more than just social media because for us, we are humans. We don't only have logical thinking, but we also have emotional thinking. And so we're tackling the emotional side. And that really bridges the knowledge and action gap, because a lot of us are alert about the problem, but we don't have the motivation to take actions. And so in order to bridge that, you have to first love nature. And communication is all about communicating the beauty of nature to people through different form of artwork, through different form of media. And also, in other words, all of these 3 branches is ultimately to make sustainability sexy for people to approach.
And obviously, main core part of 2041 will be how do we, link Antarctica and Hong Kong? Because when in Hong Kong, in the society, when we talk about Antarctica, people will be disconnected. Like, oh, it's too far away. Why does it matter? So that which is why we want to bridge the gap and saying that everything is related. It's just how the way that we see it, the perspective that we are in, we want to connect them and promote the Antarctica spirit. Essentially, the Antarctica spirit is not just about protecting Antarctica. It's really about people around you and your family, your friends, your colleagues even. And it's really about bringing people together for a common purpose, which is, sustainability.
I love the three-pronged strategy. And I think the fact that you guys are engaging with industry, with schools, with nonprofits, with youth, like bringing together these different parts of society is just going to create so much impact. So in terms of youth engagement with, for example, like industry and corporates, what are some key learning points that you can share with our listeners about creating these effective partnerships?
Communication is key because obviously students, corporations, NGOs, you name it, they speak different kind of language. It is not to say that we speak, English, Chinese, Mandarin, but really about the language that other people speak to pitch an idea, solution. I think it's very important for young people to get the exposure to actually step out of the comfort zone. So it's really about the communication and understanding what the corporations is doing, the operational side of things, what is the strategy, and see how we can give them a purpose and help them with whatever that we are proposing.
Well, I think for an effective partnership between the youth and the corporates, it's very important for us that our partner sees the same value in what we see. When we are on the same page and we as youth have the experiential value and they have the resources, then it comes together very well. And aligning that and be able to talk about it, how we can contribute to not only promoting our message, but also improving some of the things that their company is targeting would be effective in having a long-term partnership.
Some really, really good points. And Justin, can you share more about the really big, exciting goal of 2041 Hong Kong?
So the goal is, because of my sailing background, I had the idea just randomly to set sail from Hong Kong, Victoria Harbor to Antarctica using purely renewable energy. So I hope to achieve that by 2031 as like a milestone to the mission 2041. So
very, very cool. I remember Greta Thunberg also did that to go to COPs, and it just goes to show like there's so much that young people can do to really create impact, spread the message, and I really cannot wait to see this happen. So in terms of like next steps then, what are you guys hoping to achieve by this year?
Well, we really just started building our team and setting a roadmap on what we are planning to do. As of this year, we have quite a few school engagement. We're going to run a few pilot programs in school that will effectively engage students and teachers. Because the thing is, when we think about education, a lot of the time we think of it very simply, providing materials for people to learn. But in fact, in terms of like a teacher's perspective, a lot of them have prepped like courses, have prepped presentation and materials for the long term. And so listening to them and what they need, how they use their materials would be important in running our pilot program, and will be important in seeing how these materials can seamlessly integrate into a school system. So that's one side of what we're doing. We're also planning to do some exhibitions, some in Hong Kong, some actually outside of Hong Kong. And again, it's more of the communication side where we hope to communicate with our audience through their interpretation of the type of artwork that we're going to show them. So the photos that we show them, or the interpret work from different nature-inspired artists in Hong Kong. Also, from the consulting side, we are also starting to launch partnerships and industrial level reviews into seeing how ESG can be incorporated into different sectors by analyzing what's been done outside of Hong Kong and overseas, but also what are the opportunities incoming. Yeah, and so it's very exciting. We have a few developments going on, and we really hope to hit the first year with a bang, honestly. And we have an amazing team with us. And so these people are not only, Hong Kong university students, they're also Hong Kongers who are in overseas. So we have people from the US, we have people from Australia, from the UK. And so it's really exciting to also tie in different perspectives into the same team.
And we would like in the coming years to really inspire people as much as we can to influence the people around us, all the stakeholders of nature.
Loads of really exciting things happening for you guys and the organization, and I'm really so inspired by this entire conversation and all the different approaches that you guys are taking to really bring the community in Hong Kong together to work on sustainable development. So to wrap up, do you have any final words of advice for young people who are listening to this podcast who want to take action for sustainability?
Well, I think a few key points that I have for all the young people that is listening to this podcast would be to step out of your comfort zone, to push yourself into learning about different kind of things, because everything matters. Like every opportunity is an opportunity for you to learn. As Belinda has kindly summarized in the beginning, it's really the journey that matters. How do you really apply that really matters into your own sustainability journey?
And for me, I'm also really grateful that a lot of opportunities exist these days to actualize your vision and your dreams. So adding on to what Justin say about getting out of your comfort zone, if you want to do something, do it. Like not only do it as in like pitch a dream, but really step up to thinking about the realistic logistics of it, because a lot of the different organizations or different corporates will offer these opportunities if you give something realistic or something that is feasible. Start thinking about how you can apply it, what is the realistic problem, dig into stakeholders, and then when you have all these laid out, pitch it, and a lot of people will support you, and then you see that you'll gain a momentum. And these sort of things, these sort of ideas is what we need in our society right now. I believe there's a lot of dreamers out there. I really hope starting today or starting tomorrow, you will be able to start your climate journey or your sustainability journey and do something tangible to our society.
And then, of course, the fact that you're listening to this podcast right now already means that you're taking the first step into learning about everything that we mentioned.
Thank you for these very inspiring words of wisdom that we're going to leave all the listeners with. And thank you, Christie and Justin, for joining me today.
Thank you, Linda, for inviting us today to this podcast. And we really enjoyed sharing our experience with you all.
Well, thank you all to listeners as well for tuning in, and we would love to hear from you guys. So feel free to get in touch whenever by messaging us on Instagram at @sustainapod_GIH or email us at sustainapod@gmail.com. And also don't forget to go follow 2041 Hong Kong. All their socials will be linked when this episode comes out.